Ryan Baldinger, Michael Lombardi, and Paul Burmeister here on Inside Training Camp Live. Cam Newton, the reason for the sky-high expectations with the Carolina Panthers, Baldy. What are realistic expectations of what this entire team can be?
Well, they won 6 games last year, and I never saw any rookie come in at that position and play at the level that Cam Newton did every week. On Playbook last year, we did the obligatory Cam Newton report and his development. And so I don't even expect any kind of a sophomore slump from Cam Newton. I think the expectations are high in a division where I think they can at least get to 500. I mean, anything 500 or above, I think, would be a great plan right here for what Ron Rivera is building there in Carolina.
You know, I know this. In the offseason, if you have to play the Carolina Panthers, you're sitting there saying, oh, no, I got to deal with this. Because this is not an offense that you get ready for in a day or two. It takes time to handle the multiplicity of plays because he can run. And, oh, by the way, he can throw, too. And that really becomes a problem. And to me, that gives Carolina Baldy such an advantage.
Well, I was saying it last year, Mike, and you saw it. If you try to play the Carolina Panthers on a traditional third down defense, forget it. If you play 2 deep man under the way a lot of teams do in this league, and he sees, everybody turning and running underneath, he's taking off with that ball. He killed Chicago last year. He killed the Redskins last year when he ran the ball. They went to Soldier Field and put up 543 yards of offense last year. In the history of Soldier Field, no team had ever done that before against a really good Bears defense. I mean, this is a guy, you're right, you need an entire offseason and days during training camp specifically built to try to stop this guy and what he can do.
Yeah, and then all they need, and this is a big all, capitalize it and underline it, is a little bit of defense, a pass rush. They couldn't rush the pass last year. They couldn't stay healthy. They had so many injuries. If they can complement this offense, because the one thing they can do different than a lot of teams in the National Football League, I know it's a passing league, I understand that, but the running game controls the tempo of the game. They can control the tempo down. They can slow the game down, and if they get any defense at all, a guy can make a play here. If Kuechly comes in, if they can rush, if Charles Johnson, if they can find the complement to Charles Johnson, whether it's scheme related. I know Ron Rivera spent this whole summer thinking about, if my defense can play to a level I expect it to, I got a chance to be a playoff team.
And we're watching the Carolina Panthers, Baldy, work out here on this Wednesday here on Inside Training Camp Live. And you guys have both pointed out a lot of things, a lot of qualities Cam Newton has, this entire team has, along with a couple of question marks. I want to throw in another what if or another yeah but. I know Steve Smith can still play. We've seen that the last few years. After Steve Smith, though, a wide receiver, is there enough there to call this a quality wide receiving group as Cam Newton tries to take a next step forward?
Well, I think obviously they would have made the trade for Louis Murphy. They get him for basically nothing to come in and help them. And Brandon LaFell did play better. They actually got some production, but they were very good in the 2 tight end set. Shockey and really Olsen gave them a lot of dimensions. And because they're so committed to the running game, Paul, they need to be in that 2 tight end set because they're going to make people defend that in the box. And now all of a sudden things open up outside. And with that play action pass, I think you'll see these receivers. They don't have a marquee guy after Steve Smith. Steve Smith can carry it. What I thought Steve Smith did better than he's ever done in his career, Baldy, is I always used to say he had Steve Smith routes. There was about 3 routes he could run. That was it.
Yeah.
Last year, I saw him expand his route tree, which made him more difficult for defenses to defend. In the past, it was easy. Now, I think he's a little different player.
Yeah, but I think the thing that Steve Smith gave this team last year was a legitimate deep threat, and you had to respect it. And the fact that Cam Newton could find him down the field, could read coverage, get the ball to him accurately, throw the jump balls down there on the go routes, it really made those safeties, not be nosy and sniffing around there at the line of scrimmage. It kept them deep. It opened up things for Cam Newton. They do run the ball very well. I would expect new wrinkles in the basically one-back college option that they began last year with Cam Newton. Trying to stop that, as we saw with Tim Tebow last year, can be difficult in a week. I just think it's interesting. Their first 2 games out of the box this year are in their division, at Tampa and New Orleans. You're going to find about how they're going to compete in that division in the first 2 games of the season.